I'm the Lonely Necron, and welcome to my basement. So a little while ago, I did a series of games where I mixed up all of my factions and made new little warband groupings out of them, and then had them all fight amongst each other. So for the next two games, we're gonna have the winners of those games fight each other out, so that we can finally get it down to the last two, so that in a week or so I can have those guys fight and we can make a winner out of it. Alright, so got a lot of random stuff on the table, stuff I don't normally play, or in the case of this big giant thing in the middle, something I haven't quite finished yet, but yeah, we'll put it out here just for funsies. Just a random table for the semi-finalists. Okay, so here we have the winner of the first League of Random game, led by the Demon Prince of Slaanesh. He will be the HQ. He knows a smite for his psychic power. So for the troop choice, we have 10 Hormigons with the toxin sacs and I think they're the adrenal glands. Elites, we have a group of 10 commandos. There's a rocket launcher, a breacher, a burner, a regular shooter, and a knob, and then just a bunch of crazy commandos. For fast attack, we have a Trigon. And for heavy support, we have 5 Night Lords Havocs, 2 Las Cannons, a Reaper Chain Cannon, and a Heavy Bolter. Alright. Trigon will most likely be burrowing for a good portion of the battle. But there's your winners from game 1. Alright, so here we have the winner of game 3, led by the Necron Overlord. He has a Void Size. So for the troop choice, we have 10 Guardian Defenders. Fast attack, we have 5 Warp Talons. For elites of the Plague Marines, 5 of those guys. There's Plague Belcher and a Flail of Corruption in there. Then the heavy support is the Exalted Secretariat. These guys won the third game of the League of Random, so first and third going at it. So I'm going to roll deployment, set this game up, and I'm going to have a hell of a good time here in about 4 minutes. So the Overlord won deployment and decided to go in this corner. So the Secretariat in front, with the Overlord behind, Defenders in the middle, and the Plague Marines in the front there. So the Warp Talons are going to stay in their little teleportarium thing. So that's going to put the Demon Prince's team on the opposite side over there. So the Demon Prince on the end, with the Hormigons in the middle, Havocs on the other end. Trigon is wandering around underground, and the commandos can deploy forward further than 9 inches away from their deployment zone, so that is definitely more than 9 inches away, so they're going to be on top here. This is actually how I wanted to get the defenders up here, so that's going to be a fun battle against the orcs when that happens. So the Demon Prince failed to steal, which will make this the Overlord's turn. Well, his team's turn. So, movement. Alright, so everything advanced out of the corner. The Defenders got kind of far. Plague Marines got pretty far. Necrons don't move quick at all, so he's going to be lagging behind everybody. This thing got way, way deep underneath the thing, and the warp talons dropped in opposite these commandos. These guys don't have any suckers, and I gotta measure range for the Eldar because I think they're the only ones that can shoot. Alright, so after some measuring, while the Eldar are in range, okay, the heavy weapons cannon is in range, it just isn't in line of sight. So no shooting this turn. But the warp talons are absolutely going to charge into those commandos. Alright, the warp talons did not make their distance, but the commandos also did not hit. They didn't even hit anything in Overwatch, so there's that at least. With all that being said, though, that makes it the Demon Prince and his team's turn. So, movement. Alright, so the Demon Prince and the Harmagons have surged forward this way. The Havocs have just moved forwards. And the Commandos up here have moved forward as well, getting closer to the Warp Talons. We're going to leave the Trigon in the ground for this turn. So we'll go to the Psychic phase. And Demon Prince is going to try and smite the Exalted Seeker Chariot. It's a 7. So we'll do 3 damage to the chariot. And we'll do some shooting. The Commandos managed to kill off one of the Warp Talons. And while the Havocs dumped everything that they had into the Plague Marines, the Plague Marines actually managed to save everything, which was super surprising. With Chaos Dice are actually kind of rolling super weird, good, crazy, I don't know tonight. It's going to be a good game. So for the charge phase, the Commandos are most definitely charging into the Warp Talons. These guys are probably going to make it. The Commandos very much made their charge. They killed off 2 of the Warp Talons and lost 2 Commandos. Not a bad trade. Warp Talons are in trouble probably. That does make it the Overlord's team. It'll be their turn for movement. Alright, so the Overlord has advanced forward, still slowly. The Exalted Secret Chariot has gotten a whole lot closer to the Demon Prince. The 2 remaining Warp Talons fell back to the ground. The Eldar advanced really close to where the Commandos are. And the Plague Marines are going under their facility, heading towards the Havocs. These guys have no psychers, so we'll do the shooting phase. Alright, the Guardian Defenders managed to clear the platform here of the Commandos. The Plague Marines did manage to land a couple wounds on the Havocs, but they managed to save, so nothing there. So for the charge phase, the Exalted Seeker Chariot is going to charge into the Demon Prince of Slaanesh. Alright, so that was some crazy combat. The Seeker Chariot made it in. Didn't do any damage from the blade thing. Did manage to do 6 damage in combat, which didn't kill the Demon Prince. Demon Prince did 6 damage to the chariot, which didn't kill the chariot, but messed it up real bad. They're both super low, and it is the Demon Prince's turn for him and his team. So yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, we'll do some movement for these guys. Alright, so the Havocs and the Hormigons have moved forward, starting to go underneath this facility here. Demon Prince is going to stay in combat with the Chariot. And the Trigon popped up back there in the corner. So this would be the Psychic phase. So the Demon Prince is going to try and smite the Chariot. Gets it with a 6. Does 2 damage to it, which I think might actually kill it. Nope. 2 damage leaves it with 1 health. So shooting phase then. Alright, the Havocs killed off 3 of the Guardian Defenders and damaged 1 of these Plague Marines. So the charge phase. The Hormigons are going to charge into the Plague Marines. The Trigon is going to charge into the Overlord. And the Demon Prince is going to be fighting against the Chariot still. Everybody made their charges. The Hormigons killed off 4 of the Plague Marines, and then the Champion killed 2 of the Hormigons. The Demon Prince killed off the Exalted Secret Chariot in their little fight area. But really the big surprise, the Trigon made its charge, managed to get 6 wounds, and the Overlord saved 5 of them. Overlord took 1 damage and did 9 damage with its void side to the Trigon. So another one is dead, but that Trigon is super wounded. That was an awesome fight phase. So that'll make it the Overlord and his team their turn for movement. Alright, so the Overlord regains the health from living metal, putting him back up to full. The Guardian Defenders advanced up to the side of the platform here. The Warp Talons advanced up onto the platform. And the Plague Champion and Overlord are just going to stay in combat. No Psychers for these guys, so the shooting phase. I gotta measure something. So after measuring, there is no shooting phase. Also no charge phase. The 2 guys that are still in combat, I guess, are gonna do their fight phase. So the Plague Champion killed off a Hormigont before the rest of them tore him to shreds. And the Overlord killed off the Trigon. That was super enjoyable for me. I do always enjoy it when the Overlords kill something big. That'll make it the Hive Tyrant. His team in their turn. So movement. Alright, so the Hormigons have come around and are a whole lot closer to these guys now, as is the Demon Prince. While over here, the Havocs have just moved backwards a little bit so that they can get a better line of sight on the Warp Talons here. Alright, so for the Psychic phase, the Demon Prince is going to try and manifest Smite on the Guardian Defenders. Does in fact get it on an 8. 8. 2 Guardian Defenders die. Take these 2. So that'll make it their shooting phase, which in this case is just the Havocs. Alright, so the Havocs dumped everything that they had into the Warp Talons. but only managed to do 1 wound to one of them. Alright, so then we're going to go to the charge phase. So the Hormagaunts are going to charge into the Overlord, and the Demon Prince will charge into the Guardian Defenders. Alright, so everybody made their charges. The Hormagaunts did a whole lot of, well, they did a couple points of damage to the Overlord, but he killed 4 of them. And the Demon Prince killed off 3 of the Guardian Defenders and took no damage in return. Alright, so that'll make it the Overlord and his team's turn. So, movement. So the Overlord regains a health from living metal and chooses not to move. The Guardian Defenders have fallen back away from the Demon Prince. And over here, the Warp Talons have moved off the platform and are heading towards the Havocs. These guys have no Seggers. Those guys fell back and he doesn't have a gun, so pretty sure we're just going to go into the charge phase, which is going to be these Warp Talons charging into the Havocs. And over there, the Hormagaunts and the Overlord still in combat. So the Warp Talons failed to make their charge, and the Heavy Bolter managed to kill off the wounded Warp Talon in Overwatch. Over here, the Overlord killed off the remaining Hormagaunts. So that'll make it the Demon Prince's turn for he and the Havocs for movement. Really not moving, actually. Havocs are perfectly content where they're at. Demon Prince is probably going to charge something cool here in a second, so go ahead and do the Psychic phase. Closest enemy to him is actually the Overlord. Gets it on an 8. Does 2 damage. Puts him down to 1. Alright, so shooting phase it is. So the Havocs finally managed to kill off the last remaining Warp Talon. So this side is clear. So for the charge phase, the Demon Prince is gonna charge the Overlord. Well, it does happen sometimes, and I'm not a big fan of when it does happen, but the Demon Prince made his charge, and he killed the Overlord. That's the end of their turn. So these 2 Guardian Defenders, they're the only ones left alive out of their team. They're not going to move. They don't have any psychic powers, so they're going to shoot at the Demon Prince. Alright, so they didn't do a single thing. Everybody over there shot, and their heavy weapon platform didn't wound either. So they're not going to charge, but they're probably going to die next turn anyway. But they're just not really good with the melee thing, so that'll make it the Demon Prince's turn with the Havocs way over there in the Forgotten side. So movement. Alright, Demon Prince got a lot closer. The Havocs are just going to stay where they are on the off chance that this guy can't kill him. So Psychic phase, I'm going to try and smite these guys. Gets it with a 7. Only kills one of them though. So no shooting phase because no one's in range to shoot. So the charging phase, which will be the Demon Prince charging into these Guardian Defenders. Alright, yeah, he made it in, he suffered no Overwatch, and he personally claimed their souls for Slaanesh. Which means ultimately that the Demon Prince and his team have won the first semifinal game of this year's League of Random. I say this year because I'm totally going to do this at some point next year. And I'll have a lot more armies to draw from, So yay! These guys won. This was an excellent time. If you made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. It's always a good time to show other people how I play games. I mean, this isn't always how I play games. These are just the experimental kind. I recently bought some more Death Guard units, so hopefully those guys can come back and maybe put on a better showing than their last one. They did kind of kill some Hormagaunts on this one, the Death Guard grouping that was here, but it wasn't enough apparently. So we got one more semifinal game left, and then after that we'll do a final game. And yeah, League of Random. This has been a good time. Again, if you made it this far, thanks a lot. I appreciate you. And have a good day.